So the reviews for Outer Wilds. The Outer Wilds?
The Outer Worlds or Wilds?
Worlds. I've done it. I've done the thing.
Oh, no.
It's Outer Wilds and The Outer Worlds.
Okay,
right?
so the is the differentiator.
And also the
And the last word.
words.
Yeah, I mean, that too, but that gets word salady.
Totally.
Yeah.
So the reviews for the Obsidian role-playing game are out today, and apparently it's pretty good.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I was personally very excited about it.
You played New Vegas?
I played a bunch of New Vegas. In fact, when we did the Horizon Zero Dawn doc, one of the most exciting things was that the writer was also one of the main writers for New Vegas.
Yes.
So I remember gushing to him a little bit. There's like a few moments when we're filming docs where I'm like, I find out someone worked on a game I love and get to nerd out to them a little bit.
So the question I'm asking you is that this game looks pretty good. I was half interested in doing something maybe on it. We might be doing something on Outer Wilds next month, looks like.
Okay.
Would it be a good idea or a bad idea to also try and do something on the Outer Worlds? Will we confuse everyone if we approached Obsidian?
We make it one documentary and we intercut the two and treat it as, that's the joke, is we treat it as one game.
Just keep bouncing between interviewer.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, we've nailed it. Hello and welcome to the Noclip podcast. Danny O'Dwyer here, joined by Jeremy J. And hey, Jeremy.
Heyo.
We're still in our temporary residence here in my basement. We are but weeks away from getting into our podcast studio, in our new studio. I'm not sure if you noticed, I had to clear it off before I stuffed you in the corner of this, what's essentially a bedroom. A bunch of our equipment for the new podcast studio turned up. It's all over in that middle box.
Oh, wonderful.
If you can look at if you can, I don't know why I'm pointing at like there's 20 boxes in the corner.
This is not a visual medium. I don't know. No. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, but we got a new mixer, got a headphone amp so we can all hear each other.
Nice.
Got another set of these wonderful Shure SM7Bs, the podcast du jour. Because we're going to have more people. We're going to have guests.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. Can I tell you who the guests are? You don't even know yet.
Yes, please. I've been wondering.
Yeah, I've been emailing people all week, just trying to actually get dates in, because we had so many people who said yes, and then trying to get some of them in. So, yeah, we're going to start in November and try and get on some developers, first and foremost. Our good friend, I thought, how better return to the East Bay than talk to somebody who we interviewed in the past, who lives in East Bay and is one of the most entertaining indie developers of our time, shall we say. So our first episode, which will be recorded, I think it's like, it won't be next week, I think it's the week after, Jim Crawford.
Oh, wonderful.
He's going to pop in.
Of Frog Fractions fame.
Of Frog Fractions fame and maybe of Frog Fractions 2 fame. Who knows?
Maybe this podcast will be Frog Fractions 3 or 4 or something.
He's since had a kid, so I think maybe the kid might be Frog Fractions 3. Maybe that's...
He's going to raise it as an extended ARG.
Right.
Yeah, just the experience of interacting with his family is Frog Fractions 3.
Totally separate to this, or randomly, is I got an email. So we've the PO box in Oakland, which is the same PO box we had when I first started Noclip. And then I had to set one up in Edgewater in Maryland when I lived there. And so the one I had there, there's like an overlap, because I'm sure there's stuff that I ordered or letters are going to come or something while we were in the middle. So there's like a 3-month overlap maybe. And I talked to them about like, can you just like bulk it all up in one go and then send it out west if there's any stuff. But I'm secretly hoping nothing gets sent there, because obviously it'll be expensive.
Yeah.
So something just arrived.
Oh boy.
And it's the, limited run games. They
Yeah.
do they do like boxed copies of games that are usually digital only. It is my limited run copy of Glitter Mitten Grove.
That's amazing. I want to see that so bad.
Right, which I got for the studio, because we have like boxes for every game that we covered.
Yeah.
And the one we didn't have was Frog Fractions. So
that's amazing.
So I got that.
Is there, I'm so curious if there's sort of like hints, like visual hints on the box for it, or
I forget, because it was months ago
Yeah.
that I got it, and Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're pretty reasonably priced. We also talked to the ESRB about that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like a problem where I guess when non-digital games that didn't have ratings were going to get physical versions, it was going to cost like whatever the fee is at ESRB, which is probably quite high, for them to go get the paperwork to just make like a limited run copy. Like, you know, I don't know how many they sell, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 or something.
In case there was a like a bunch of naked people in the art of like an everyone rated game.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, I don't see how this is relevant, but we got to rate this.
This isn't K through A.
Yeah, this is just A.
Yeah. That whole thing came up. But speaking of that, we just came from. It's all interconnected, man.
I know. I feel like it's all spiraling inward
Right.
until we lose our minds.
That's also where we interviewed Jim Crawford. Was the Maid,
The Maid.
which stands for the. Can you remember what it stands for?
I'm going to take a stab at it.
Yeah, go for
the
it.
Museum
Yes.
of Art
Yes.
and Digital Entertainment.
Yes.
Nice
work.
Nice. My brain was trying to like re-grammarize like Museum of Art digitally entertaining. Like, yeah. Close.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
That is a. This is my super nerdy. I'm a bad writer, but one of the things I like is definitions, and it's the difference between a acronym and an italicism.
Okay.
So MAID is an acronym.
What's an
Like
italicism?
NATO is. You
Yeah.
say the word.
Okay.
Whereas the FBI,
Oh.
you don't say FB.
Oh, interesting.
That's an italicism. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there was a word for that.
No,
that's interesting.
It's like not in common lexicon.
I always thought it was just sort of like a whichever one caught on first. Like FBI is hard to say.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna call it the FBI. FB.
right.
Yeah, it doesn't have any authority.
Whereas the UN, not
Every member of the UN.
Yeah, exactly right.
It doesn't have a ring to it.
Yeah, so there you go. There's your piece, your useless piece of writer's knowledge for the day.
Thank you.
We filmed the stand-ups today.
Yeah, they came out good, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were looking nice.
it's such like an easy place to film because it's just wall-to-wall games.
Yeah, it's almost like it's hard to shoot B-roll there because there's just so much.
Yeah.
Like we just have to get real granular about which era of video games are most relevant to the B-roll.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It worked for this because all we needed were pictures of game boxes and and also old ones that have all the old ESRB ratings on them, like K through A.
K to A.
K to A.
Yeah.
It's kid to adult. Is that what it was?
I believe so, yeah. I can't imagine what else it would stand for.
Yeah, kindergarten. We don't use kindergarten in Ireland. We say like first babies and second babies and stuff
First
like that.
babies?
Yeah. Preschool.
That's preschool and kindergarten is first and second babies?
I think I went to preschool and then I went to first babies and then second babies. Yeah.
That sounds so like illegitimate. Like if you had that on your resume, I'd be like, oh, this guy did not have an education. He just taught him how to like run around in the mud or something.
It's like somebody made up a school, but they don't know how schools work. So
Yeah.
they're like, I don't know. First babies.
It's like it's like if Montessori didn't actually teach you anything. Like if they were just like, yeah, we'll just first babies. You just put the babies in a room. It's like, and then second babies is the other room.
Yeah. So we filmed all that stuff today. It looks good. For those who don't know, by the way, this museum is in Oakland. It's right off the highway, right off 580.
Yeah.
You actually pass. They have a banner above the building. If you're driving 580 and you look, you'll see it just says Video Game Museum.
Yeah.
Which I guess is probably a better way of getting people in the door than the Maid.
Yeah, the maid is a little ambiguous
Yeah.
if you're not in the know.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it's right there. It's open, I want to say Fridays, maybe just Friday evenings, Fridays, and then Saturdays and Sundays.
It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There was I can check. Well, I'll look it up later. We'll post it.
Yeah, they
But
tweeted at us or something.
yeah, they did tweet it. Yeah, check the
you
Twitter
know what?
post that was posted recently.
I probably
and,
find it here easier. and
Yeah,
fun.
let's put it into words for the people.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. It's a non-profit. It's all, most of the folks there are like, they're just working, in their spare time, helping out. Here it is, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. on Fridays, and so it's noon till midnight. Cool. And then 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturdays, and then 12 to 6 on Sundays.
Yeah, it's a cool place to check out. They've got every console imaginable, and then a bunch that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Like I consider myself pretty in the know when it comes to like video game history, I guess. And then they've got the Apple Super Pippin and like I don't know, just like shit I've never heard of.
And the cool thing is, I think all of them almost. Well, maybe not. Maybe some of the obscure ones, not so much. But the majority of them you can play.
Yeah.
The games that are like on the shelves, you can stick them in the computers that are there, and you can actually play them.
Yeah, and they've got what is it? Steel Battalion.
Oh my God.
They've got like a bank vault with a Steel Battalion set up in it.
Yeah, they have the actual. I can't remember if this is an official thing or somebody
either.
made it.
Yeah.
But it's like a, because Steel Battalion's famous for having the ridiculous controller,
right?
Which has like the what do you call it? Like the flot toggle switch. You have to like open the plastic cover and then hit it, to eject. Because famously in Steel Battalion, if you don't eject from the mech, your save game gets deleted.
Right.
So, but this one is inside of like a fake tank.
Yeah.
Like you step into it's a metal box.
Yeah, it's like a weird light type box that has the Steel Battalion controller in it. I feel like
a screen,
they said,
I think.
Yeah, there's definitely a screen in there. I feel like they said somebody made it. Like I feel like it wasn't legitimate. But
Yeah.
I'd love it more if that was the real peripheral though, because it's like a giant steel vault.
It's so ridiculous that I remember I had one friend who had the Steel Battalion controller. It was it was like maybe more than €200.
It was definitely at least a couple $100. I had one of my best friends growing up. His older brother had it, and he wouldn't let us play it, presumably because of the like eject, lose your save, hardcore mode thing. Right. But we set it up one night, like in the middle of the night, and he woke up and like came down into the living room, was like, "What are you guys doing?" And like beat up my friend because we were playing Steel Battalion. It was the most hardcore mode of any game ever.
It's like finding your like brother's porn collection.
Yeah. Except way cooler.
Right.
Way better peripherals.
How weird. Does everyone just have that one person they know who has a Steel Battalion controller?
It must be, yeah. There can only be one. They only sell one per region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's so bizarre. Yeah, they have that. I'm sure you can use it. I don't. Yeah. They might need to help you out or something with that one.
Yeah, they have to strap you in.
Yeah, yeah, you get ejected.
Yeah, you actually eject onto Broadway in Oakland.
Right.
Yeah.
What else do they have? They do like co-working space. So if you're based out in Oakland, you can do that. It's right beside the Kaiser building as well, so you can get relatively cheap parking. Actually, I was there for like 3 hours and it was $5, which I mean, Bay Area, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. I thought you were going to say when you eject from the Steel Battalion,
straight into the hospital.
Straight into the hospital. Yeah,
yeah.
And you parachute in through the skylight.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There was a European Xbox ad which was never shown in the US, I don't believe, and it's always on lists of like banned TV commercials, but like I remember seeing it on television. Where a lady's giving like birth. She's like in a delivery ward, and the baby's like, it's coming, and then it goes bam, and it flies out of the mother. Flies through. All the UK listeners are like, oh, I totally know this one. It flies out a window, goes into the air, like it's like not stratospheric, but it's like it's high in the sky where airplanes go. Right, we're cruising altitude for this baby, and it starts to age. And it starts to turn into like a young man, and then it's like a middle-aged man, and it's like all the time going like, whoa, like kind of freaking out because it's going through the air. Yeah. And then it hits its arc and then starts to come down, and then it's getting a little bit older, and it's like, oh, and there's like shots from the ground of it going through the sky, and then it's like an old man, and then plummets to the earth straight into the grave, and then it just comes up. Life goes fast. Xbox.
A cut to black, directed by Stanley Kubrick.
Right, yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's nuts.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's a real commercial.
Jesus, that I was thinking of the I think it was like a banned Xbox commercial where it had like this silly music, and it's like a bunch of people in like a train station maybe doing finger guns.
Oh yeah, that was
like,
yeah.
Bang, bang, bang.
That was Was that one banned? I remember seeing that too.
I feel like that was. Maybe it was banned. I was going to say banned in the US, but the US loves guns. Yeah. They'd be like, this is good, but
totally,
you could up the gun level a little bit.
Was it like filmed in like Argentina or something? It had like a Latin American vibe to it or something?
Yeah, maybe something. It's been years, but
it's like Cops and Robbers. Everyone's like finger.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say. That commercial got banned.
That's why it got banned. Yeah. Someone put 2 and 2 together on that, and they were like, "Oh no!"
They submitted it to the advertising rating board as fingerbang.mp4. Yeah.
That's just what to say the file name.
You were like, "Nope."
Oh god.
Yeah. So that we just filmed that, which was fun, and the video game museum. You should go check it out if you're local. I forgot to mention someone else who's coming on the podcast. Is Cornelia Gephardt, who works for Jomei Games, and they made Sea of Solitude.
Oh, cool!
Which is a game that came out I want to say like July, maybe August. It was this year. It's a like a character platformer game that's kind of based around like I think her experience actually of like depression and loneliness and stuff like that. Really gorgeous looking game. They showed it off. I think it was at E3 was when it got. It's people were like ooh, like fawning over it. And I've not played much of it myself, but I'm in the process of doing so because she's coming all the way over. I think they're based in Germany.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she was in the Bay Area for a few days, and I think tagged on an extra day or came in early so she could come on the podcast. So
wonderful.
It's cool. Yeah, we got some like fun folks coming in, and
that's awesome. It'll be cool to get people like that and just be able to have these sort of long-winded conversations about stuff, as opposed to like filming them for 2 hours and then cutting it down to 20-30 minutes of screen time or whatever.
Sometimes it sucks.
Yeah,
it's like
because you lose so much gold in the process.
I don't know what to do with that Taron Adams interview. Like, I feel like we just put the whole thing up.
I think you should. I think it's a rare. I don't know. He's just like, he just exudes hilarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's those types of people to get them in and chat to us. And everyone's got like interesting stories. And what I like about this and the whole like made thing, like the museum and us getting set up, and also like our landlord and all that, is like we've got so many cool stories. I guess I should talk about that because we mentioned on the Patreon show, but I've not said it anywhere else.
Yeah,
is that where we're getting this space? It's a building that's owned by Other Ocean Entertainment, who are Digital Eclipse is also run out of that building, but they're a East Bay video game developer, and the sort of person at the forefront, at least the person I've known the most from this group of folks, is Mika, who is kind of like a bit of a legend in the, I don't know, game preservation, game collecting world. They do a lot of work on, like, I think that they do like ports, lots of ports of games onto, modern consoles, old classic games. They do a bunch of weird stuff. They have this like a Mixer stream tank soccer AI battle thing going on that they stream on Mixer. That's like in the office when I walk in. It's just like these four robots playing soccer on the table.
I was wondering what that was.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah.
I saw it when we went in. Yeah.
It's like, huh, all right.
I didn't really have time to ask a question about it, but it was just, that kind of made it better.
Yeah.
It was just like, all right, yeah, that's here.
We were in there filming something, which we can't really talk about yet, probably, separate to all this, in the back room where they have like 40 arcade cabinets just stuffed in the back of that. I think it's their beer room.
Yeah, it's spelled wonderful like beer and popcorn, and it was just filled with arcade games. It was like a hallway where both walls are arcade games.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
What was in there? There was a couple of your favorite ones were in there.
The ones we were talking about I didn't see in there, but they had
Robotron.
I didn't see it. Or did they have it in there?
It was. I
was so busy setting up lighting, I didn't get a chance to look around. But they had a bunch of classic ones in there.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat stuff, Street Fighter, all them. They had a full 2-player DDR setup in there.
Oh yeah, it was cool.
I think some of them are like the folks who work there, who also live in the Bay Area, so they like don't have a place to put their rad machine.
That's like 10% of your square footage.
Yeah, totally.
Like an arcade cabinet,
especially when it's a 2-player DDR setup. That seems like maybe a bit much. But yeah, Mike is like, I know Mike from maybe my favorite video game podcast of all time, A Life Well Wasted, Robert Ashley put out. Very much the inspiration for the original version of the Noclip podcast I put out, where they're like highly edited stories, that type of thing. Robert did a bunch of, I think there was only 6 episodes in total, but they were so good, and one of them was set in Mike's basement, which was pretty cool. Frank Cifaldi, who runs the Video Game History Foundation, also rents a space from those guys around there. So we're kind of like, we're not just like getting a house, we're getting a family.
We're not gaining an office, we're gaining a family and an office,
a family who we pay.
That's the best kind. Right, that's the unconditional love, as long as the checks get written.
That's conditional love, I think.
Well, it's conditional if the money stops flowing. Yeah, that's the one condition.
That's how the Bay works.
Yeah.
The money stops flowing, the love disappears.
Yeah, it's like Dune. The cash must flow.
Exactly. Mike Mika controls the spice melange.
Yeah, we pay him in spice.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm really jazzed about that because I don't know, it's cool. It's like, maybe it's like whiplash from being in Maryland on my own, but then like having all these people around, and Mike is the type of person who just like knows everyone. So if there's someone we need interviewing, or there's like a story we don't really know the angle on, he's been helpful in the past with like trying to open doors for Noclip. So yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, it seems like it's a good fit for us too, because like you and I were talking the other day about the term journalist not really fitting what we do.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like the word documentarian always sounds a little pretentious to me, but I think it fits really well for what we do. And because there is a preservationist sort of mission at the core of this.
Right.
So it's cool that we've sort of found this through the studio, this impromptu sort of like network or like family, quote unquote, that we fit into. So it's cool. It kind of contextualizes what we do a little bit.
That was my Windows machine, just for everyone who's listening who now thinks that they're getting an update.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. Yeah, totally. It's because the journalist, I feel sometimes we're journalists.
Yeah.
Sometimes the work is journalistic, but a lot of the times it's it's more preservation or it's got one foot in the other or whatever. I think I don't want the pressure to feel like every one of them is journalistic, because some of the stories you can kind of pick your path on it. And what's cool about those guys, I think, is that they definitely have one foot in the past. Like their work is very much the type of studio that does either resurrecting old games, or they've just been working in the industry for such a long time that they always are looking back a little bit. Like Mike's, if you follow him on Twitter, like his office is just absolutely, it's ridiculous. It's like if you had a picture of like, if somebody was drawing like a manga, like picture of like a nerd in like a Tokyo apartment with a tall ceiling, and it was just wall to wall like games the whole way up. Like that's what his office is. It's like a little box, but it's like maybe, I don't know, they're pretty high ceilings, like 12 foot or something. Yeah. And he's basically the entire way up. It's like a library. It's like an old library.
Yeah, it is.
Like he needs one of those ladders that like goes
that
along
slides
the wall.
around.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it reminds me of like a Shibuya video game store without the Japanese flair.
Totally.
Like it's just like, or like if for anyone who saw the Dream Daddy documentary, there were a bunch of shots of Aaron Hansen's office, which is essentially modeled after like a Super Potato, like a Shibuya video game store. It's like that without all the bamboo. Like it's just like walls of video games, roof to ceiling.
It's so cool.
Or roof to floor. Roof to ceiling is not very much. Yeah.
It's giving me like inspirations for what we should do with the studio as well. Yeah. Like what those spaces should look like. Yeah, thanks to everyone who sent in games, especially in the early days. A lot of people sent in games for the... What did I call it? It was the like new version of Random Encounter I was doing. I forget. First Encounter, I think. Yeah, because it was like games I played for the first time. So loads of people sent stuff to our PO box. So I've got just like boxes of these are just full of games. So
nice.
We'll have to put all those up with all the consoles and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Have you been playing much for the past week? In your off time?
No, I haven't been playing a ton of... I went through a period where I mentioned in the last podcast a few of the games that I'd played recently. I kind of beat like 5 games in a row.
You went for a roguelike, like...
Yes. Yeah, so when we were starting the Hades doc series, I kind of felt like I was undereducated on roguelikes.
Right.
And so, since we've been doing it so long, I think like I like Hades so much that I was like... Why have I not played that many roguelikes? Like, this is so fun. I really like difficult games. And so, that genre is sort of, or subgenre is synonymous with difficulty. So I went back and like just played a bunch of roguelikes, and they're so fun, man. Like I really love just like a really short feedback loop that's incredibly frustrating.
Right.
And then it just like one time you just like loop and loop and loop and then break free. I don't know. There's something so satisfying about it.
That's like your zen, though, right? That's your like finding the moment, getting in the flow or whatever.
Yeah, it's like when you crest on a really long hike. Like even people who love hiking, there's a moment where they're hiking where they're like, "Why do I like this again? Like I'm so sweaty and my legs hurt." And you get to the top and the cool breeze comes over, and it's like you won. Except there's no HUD.
Right. But, enemy defeated.
Yeah, exactly. There's something satisfying about it. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm a masochist or something.
Right.
But I don't know. Go ahead.
Let's do this. How many have you played? Have you played 5 roguelikes this year?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. 3 definitely. 4. You've played 5. 5. You've played 5 in your life.
Yeah.
Can you think of 5 right now in your head? And then I want you to list them in order of which one is the best.
Oh God, that's tough.
What have you been playing? Salt and Sanctuary?
Yeah.
You played Rogue Legacy again recently?
Yeah. I just played Moonlighter as well, which is sort of in that roguelike.
I don't know Moonlighter.
Moonlighter is it's really interesting. I think It's a really cool game. It's definitely not my favorite of the ones I've played, but I think it's one of my favorite ideas for a game, which is that you are the shopkeeper in like an RPG style town.
Oh, cool.
But at night you go, like you moonlight as an adventurer.
Oh,
and
that's
so
fun.
You go into these dungeons and
cool.
so all these enemies drop all these items and you kind of like learn over time what they're worth.
What they're worth like financially?
Yes.
Oh, funny.
And so you bring them back to town and then you have to run your shop during the day. So it's like, so there's two sort of like modes of gameplay. One is a roguelike where you're going into these dungeons and getting loot. And then the other is you're coming back and putting stuff on these tables and setting prices and like stopping thieves and stuff and building the town up.
Looks good. Came out last year, I think.
Yeah, I think it did. It's really fun. It's very, very charming. I really like the art style. But I don't know. I'd have to say the best game I played recently was definitely Salt and Sanctuary.
Which you was this one? This is one, man. I feel so bad. There's so many of these games that have like similar enough titles, or they're indie, and my brain just can't decide which one's which.
Yes.
Like it's like I had this problem with Undertale forever. I don't now, but which one is Salt and Sanctuary?
So Salt and Sanctuary is a sort of, it's like Dark Souls by way of Castlevania. So
Okay.
It is like a 2D, it is the closest to a two-dimensional Dark Souls that you could ever conceivably get.
Right.
And it was created by a husband and wife team, I believe, from Seattle.
Oh yeah, look at this.
Yeah,
Sorry, now I remember which one this is. Yeah.
It is absolutely fantastic. I think my final time on the game was, I spent a lot of time with it. I probably put like 38 hours into it,
cool.
and it was over like a long weekend. So I just...
You've done that before.
Yeah, it's weird. I won't play games for like a month, and then I'll disappear for like 3 days and do nothing but play a game. But yeah, it's fantastic, man. And it's weird because it's sort of like Dark Souls in a way is so influenced by that like Metroidvania kind of like explore a place and then you like see your environment differently and find new paths back and forth.
Yeah.
But then it kind of that becomes Dark Souls and then it becomes Salt and Sanctuary, but it's not like a demake. Like it feels like it's this new sort of like in between, like it has the heaviness of Dark Souls in that it has dodge rolls and iframes, and it's very much about like learning the movement patterns of enemies and mastering sort of boss fights like that.
Like the way in which Dark Souls is different from the sort of traditional roguelike being the combat.
Yes.
This actually kind of apes that.
Yes. But the interesting thing about it is that like much like a Castlevania, if you jump in the air and you slash, like you have like a little hover moment like that. So it's this really interesting sort of on the fence between like this super heavy feel of Dark Souls and your armor class like scales. So like light armor makes you move faster and it's very noticeable.
Right.
But yeah, it's so fun, dude. And it's gorgeous. Like, I don't know, the environments are so varied, and there's like platforming puzzles that are legitimately pretty difficult, and you can play it co-op, which I haven't done.
Oh, right.
So
what did you play on?
I played it on Switch.
Oh, cool.
I just played it on
yeah.
Switch and like curled up in a corner for 3 days, and yeah, it's fantastic though.
That Switch.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. What about you, man? What have you been playing? Anything you can talk about?
No, I can't, Jeremy. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm that jerk who's been playing Death Stranding for the best part of, I guess it's been a week now or so.
That's that Police Knots sequel, right?
Yeah, exactly. God, I can't say a word about it. The embargo is not up until I think it's the 1st of November. I think is when the review embargo is. We're gonna put a video together though.
Nice.
We're gonna do it on the /Danny O'Dwyer channel, my personal channel, not Noclip, because we don't put reviews for games on the documentary channel. That would be insane. I had an idea of where to film it. Did you watch any of the trailers for Death Stranding?
I watched them all.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
We should go on a beach. We should go to Ocean Beach in San Francisco.
Okay, so here's what I'm picturing is we get like, you know those backpacks that you can, I think you have one, that you can put a cat in and the cat looks through the little like round window. We need to get one of those and get
I don't know if it made it over here. We might have given it away.
Okay, well, we need to get another one of those. Oh. And then we need to fill it with lemon lime Gatorade and a little baby, like a little doll of a baby. And then have you walk around on the beach with it.
This is such a good idea. What I will say is that those bags are definitely made to be not to be airtight, because otherwise your cat would choke to death.
Good point.
So I'm not sure if we can we can put like a gel, like a light gel. I have some orange gels here.
Okay.
Because I was a typical camera person. Instead of like getting orange, I don't know, lights for outside the house, I'm just putting orange gels over the lights that are already outside the house. So maybe we'll stick a gel over it, or I was thinking of like a backpack of some description or something like that, or
that's amazing.
Yeah,
That'll
we
be
should do that. We
fantastic.
should go first thing in the morning when it's like really misty.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, super spooky.
And then I can talk about whatever it is that game is.
You can just lose yourself in an existential crisis.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, that's not me commenting on the game being weird or undefinable. That's just saying whatever the game is.
Yeah.
The game, because who knows?
Yeah.
Let's move on before I get myself in trouble.
But sorry, you haven't told me anything, so
No,
yeah.
I can't.
His lips are sealed, man.
I know. I joked on Twitter that my daughter walked in the room while I was playing the game and I had to get her to sign an NDA. Shout out to our friends over at Sony for setting me up, even though I'm not really a reviewer. So that was cool. We'll do something fun around that.
I'm excited.
Next week, I had an idea, right? Because we're still kind of working out the format for this whole podcast shenanigan. Mostly I just like sitting down and talking to you. It's a fun time.
Thanks, bud.
No worries. I like your conditional friendship because I pay you to be here.
As soon as the spice stops flowing, man.
know, right?
I'm trapped behind this table, though, so I literally
know.
can't leave until we're done.
The table is my sandworm. Yeah. We're getting real deep on these Dune references. Did you ever play Dune 2, the video game?
No, I've seen it, but I've never played it.
What's really weird is I played Dune 2 is it's basically like the protojet, the original real-time strategy
Yeah,
game. It's
that's the
one.
only reason I've seen
Yeah.
gameplay of it.
Which is really strange because Dune 1 is like, I think, an adventure game. I've never played it.
Like a point and click?
It's either a point and click or there was this weird genre of like platform adventure games. I remember Dizzy on the Amiga. I don't know if that ever went anywhere else. There was a couple of years there where you had games that were like adventure games, but they weren't like you could die. You could they were platformers as well. So I don't know. I think it's like it might just have been an adventure game. It might have been a platformer. I'm not really sure.
Like would like Pitfall be one of those kind of? Or
yeah.
Is that a little more platformer?
That's a little bit more platformy, but it might. But that element of exploration and sort of like realness or whatever. Unlike like the LucasArts ones, which you couldn't really die in. There were specific cases like in Monkey Island 2 and whatever, but or joke ones in Monkey Island 1. But Dune 2 is like, I would love to do something. That's a Westwood joint as well, so that's
cool.
all like original Command and Conquer stuff. But yeah, no, I've not been playing Dune 2. Why did I bring that up? I don't know why I brought that up. The format for the podcast, it'll be mostly like interviews, guests, and just like shooting the breeze. But I also like the idea of doing like one-off specials where we just talk about one game, or like we get someone in who's, who knows, maybe Jim is really interested in a game. My brain always goes to Bloodborne, no matter what. So I just want to sit down and talk to you about Bloodborne for 2 hours.
How often do you post a poll on Twitter that has 3 options that are indeterminate, and the 4th of which is something related to
Always
Bloodborne?
Yeah, I just put it in there because everyone votes for Bloodborne.
You're like, what should I name my child? Like these 3 names or like Bloodborne?
Yeah, we did. We tried to think of a name for like a Bloodborne live streaming show.
Oh, there were some good ones. Yeah, when we were filming at Supergiant this week.
Yeah, we were just wasting time thinking. I'm trying to think what they were again.
There was a bunch. They were all very, very clever puns. Born to be Wild, I saw a few times.
Yeah, people kept sending that one in. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
did I tweet them?
Best Budsborn.
It was the Yarnum ones that I really liked.
Oh yeah. Khalif Adams posted "Smoke 'em if you yarn 'em."
That's really strong.
Which was pretty good.
That's really good, Khalif.
There was one that was like incredibly clever.
Here we go. Whiskey in a Yarnum. Shred the Yarnum. Robert Littleham's Born Conspiracy, which I quite like. Somebody responded with like something like it was like a remix of the Born Conspiracy one. It was ridiculous. I probably won't be able to find it. This podcast is just going to be me looking through tweets. But what I wanted to do next week, what would it being Halloween, Samhain, Dia de los Muertos, whichever way you want to put it, the spookiest time of the year. I thought it would be fun to talk about spooky, horrorful games next week. So if you have this is your call to action, listener. If you have a story about like a spooky game, like the scariest game you've ever played, whether or not it was when you were a child or an adult, we really, really want to hear them. Podcast at noclip.video. Some people on Patreon have been sending direct messages to me on Patreon. You can do that too if you want. But yeah, ideally stick them all in podcast and noclip.video. And we'll showcase them on next week's show. Hopefully we get enough of them. We'll do a whole episode just about the spookiest games. But yeah, I just thought we'd, I don't know, start chatting about him a little bit here?
I have a real dumb like moment that scared me in a game thing as a kid.
Okay.
So
How old are you?
I am 28 years old.
No, sorry. I mean, in the story, how old are you?
Okay, I was wondering where you were going with that. Let's see. Ocarina of Time had come out in the last year, so it was what, 97,
Okay.
98.
Okay.
So I was like
Spooky times.
I was like
Y2K
7 or 8 years
Right,
old.
okay.
Like I was pretty young, single digits. So there was a website where there was sort of like conspiracy theories, if you will, or like urban legends about Ocarina of Time.
Oh.
And it was a whole site about things that were theorized to be in the game. The lead rumor of which was that you could get the Triforce in the game.
Okay.
And that it would like give you some sort of like incredible power, like a la the Fierce Deity mask. Like
Okay.
it would just make the game sort of like broken because he'd be so powerful. So me and my brother were obviously like, we have to track this down, right? The reason it was the scariest thing in a game was because this is so dumb. The music on the background of the website was the spooky X-Files theme.
Okay.
Just like an instrumental dun 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 dun.
Yeah, spooky.
So that was just playing. So we'd have this website open and we'd be like on like a dial up in the other room and we'd be like crawling around like Clocktown when it's full of zombies in the future. And like the X-Files music is playing in the background. And I just, for whatever reason, like it was like I felt like I was looking for something I wasn't supposed to find or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's so dumb because I mean, Ocarina of Time has scary elements, but it was just the whole like air of mystique.
Were you
this had
like
been
doing
hidden.
it at nighttime as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, totally. Like sitting in the basement playing at 64 and just like,
With the X-Files music
yeah,
on?
totally. Like someone could have dropped a pin and I would have jumped and hit my head on the ceiling. But
I love the idea that there's no moment scary enough that the addition of the X-Files music won't make it scarier.
yeah, it's like not a scary game. I guess it's kind of scary when the I can't remember what they're called, but those things jump on your head and go like. "Arr!"
Oh yeah, I've seen give us like I have a tortured history with Ocarina of Time.
I don't
tried
mean to
to-
bring up a hurtful memory.
I tried to complete it on a live stream called Ocarina of Time because no, I can't do any live streaming thing without having a stupid name attached to it, and failed to do it. I got to what's the water place called again?
Jabu Jabu's Belly or the Water Temple?
Oh no, I did the Jabu Jabu Belly Bar.
Is it the Water Temple?
Yeah, I got in there. I did all that one.
The Water Temple is like the, no pun intended, the high water mark for like
Oh, really?
horribly difficult, frustrating levels.
Oh, I don't know if I actually did the temple. I did the fish belly thing.
Okay.
So maybe I was.
Did you become adult Link yet?
No, no,
Oh, you're
yeah.
still a kid.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
That's how
dude.
bad I suck at that game.
If you ever want to revive that series, I've played that game maybe more than any other game in history.
Maybe that's how we do it. 'Cause
I'll be your Virgil and you can be my Dante.
Yeah,
And
I
I will
can-
get you to the bottom of hell.
Can you be my little? What's that little? Hey, listen.
I'll be your Navi. Yeah.
Yeah, you can be Navi if there's ever. Oh my god, that'd be great, and we could do it, and then I could just like ask you like one or two questions a stream or something.
Yeah, and I'll give
the
you
rest of the
a
time.
real canned response. Like,
Yeah.
make sure to use the Z targeting system.
Every time.
I need some help.
every time.
Yeah, exactly.
God damn it, Navi.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
What
maybe.
about what are your favorite scary games
Scary
or scary
games.
memories of games?
My earliest like childhood scary one they're going to be games no one knows about. I guess Shadow of the Beast, which now I guess Jeremy shrugs, which is like I think so the Amiga, I grew up playing the Commodore Amiga. The Amiga had a lot of like games that were like I have learned in adult life were basically just I don't know, riffing off of popular NES games. Like we had the Great Gianna Sisters
Which always cracks me up.
instead of the Super Mario Brothers. Just a complete coincidence that they're Italian and siblings.
Is that why they were Gianna? Because it was an Italian name?
100%.
Oh my! I always wondered that.
Yeah. Dude, have you ever seen it?
No.
Like the first level is 1-1 and the second level is 1-2. Like they're not, but like the color palette and what they're going for, the vibe they're going for, except at the end of like instead of meeting, who do you meet at the end of the first section? It's like Toad, it's Bowser Jr. or whatever. Instead of that, you meet a massive ant. like an ant.
Just an ant?
Just like somebody drew an ant, like somebody drew a quote unquote like a realistic, a natural looking ant, not like a cartoonish ant, just like a ant, and scaled it up.
What?
It's such a
That
weird
is
game.
so confusing.
It's made in like Poland or something. It was great. Anyway, so we had lots of these types of games. And one of them was Shadow of the Beast, which I now think is riffing off of Altered Beast. I think that's what, because it was similar to kind of 2D. I don't know what that art style is. It's like, it's not cartoony, but it's like, it's what, I guess what that era of games as close as it could get to quote unquote like fantasy realism or whatever.
Yeah.
But the intro for it was like this really scary, a baby getting like captured from like it was like a lightning storm at nighttime, and this flying beast is up on a hill and looking at the house, and then it comes down and it's just a crashing, lightning strikes and he tears off the roof, and the baby screaming, and it scared
Jesus
the Christ
Christ, dude.
Yeah, it was like really, it's like super unrealistic. Like obviously like these discs I held like, a megabyte on them or whatever.
Half of the disc was just that sequence.
Right, easily. That scared the bejesus out of me. And then the other one that did a lot, which is basically like one of those, those PC first-person RPGs like Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall and stuff. It was a game called Abandoned Places, which I actually think is like one of the scariest titles of a game.
Yeah, that's
like
freaky.
It's really freaky, and it was that type of thing where it was like a first-person role-playing game where you had like an up, down, left, right on the screen that you'd click, and like a little inventory screen on the side, and then like the left of the screen was like a pane that showed you, where you were facing or whatever. And you'd walk down but you could turn a corner and you'd go, you turn 90 degrees and there'd be like a skeleton guy. And you'd be like, ah! And it used to scare the bejesus out of me, because the only way you'd know if someone was behind you was they'd have footsteps, and they get louder and louder the closer they got.
That's horrifying.
And I never knew like what the peak loudness was, so it always felt like they were right behind me. It was so scary.
That's terrifying. Yeah. That sounds like disturbing, like scarring.
It was a lot.
Jesus.
Was there any game that scared you as you're an adult?
Yeah, definitely. Because just like to rattle off the one sentence other game that scared me as a kid was I was really scared playing Myst as a kid. Because
I can see that.
It would be really quiet for a while, and then you would find a book, and there'd be a guy like, "Listen, kid, I'm trapped in this book. You gotta get me out." And it just would be like, "Oh God, like mom, is someone like, can someone come in here and like make sure this is cool?" Yeah. Experience. Hey, Kyle Katarin, I'm in a book, man. You want to help me out, kid? I think one of the scariest experiences I had with a video game as an adult was actually when we were both at GameSpot. I did a feature where I figured out how to work the VR portion of Alien Isolation. And I just set up a pitch black room and with like a little blue light in there, and I kept pulling people in from the GameSpot crew and like
pulled me in.
Yeah, exactly. So you're in that video, I'm in it as well, and like it didn't really prepare anyone for it. It was just kind of like, you want to come and do this thing for a feature? Like, it'll be fun. And then all of a sudden you're like in VR, and I don't know, there was something so frightening about like peering around a corner with a joystick is one thing where you're like, oh God, and then you like slam your thumb left, right?
Yeah.
It's not that visceral. But if you peer your head up over a table, like there's a clip of you specifically, I remember, where you like got up out of the chair and you peered your head up and you're like, oh, no, and just kind of like threw yourself on the ground. Yeah, there was that one-to-one feedback, the ability to like peer around something and see this like demon hunting you was so scary. And actually, that video, not only it was on Joe Rogan Experience podcast, they showed that video.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, which was very strange. And then when I filmed at Creative Assembly, a couple of the leads on Alien Isolation,
of course,
I mentioned that video to them, and they were like, "We love that video." We like
that's amazing.
So it was really like full circle. It was really cool to be like, "I loved that game," and then mention it, and they were like, "Yeah, because I thought they might be like, why are you blowing up our spot about the VR thing?" Because it wasn't official. But yeah,
of course, yeah.
But it was terrifying. I don't know.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Alien Isolation, we're going to have a little split-off video from that Creative Assembly doc just about that as well, so that should be good fun. Yeah, that was scary. VR stuff is scary. There's a couple of VR horror games that were in there, and the one people keep saying to me, if anyone has an experience with it, please let us know. Podcast at noclip.video. The Resident Evil 7 thing.
Oh yeah,
I still haven't played it. I have a PSVR, but I'm not. I think I just need to I need to be in the right place, man. I don't know.
Maybe we could do that for Halloween. I'd play that for Halloween. Yeah.
We did I'm trying to think of the scary game that I played in my... Oh, you mentioned... Yeah, speaking of Alien, actually, that's a good one. Alien vs. Predator, not the Jaguar version, the PC one that came out in like... I don't know, let's say 2003.
I can picture the box art, but I didn't... Was it a first-person shooter?
Yeah, it was 3 different first-person shooters, basically. Because you played as the Marine, and you were like shooting stuff. You played as an alien, and then you played as Predator. And they were all interesting in their own way. It was really cool. But when you played as the Marine, it had a little motion tracker on the front guy, so on the gun, so it was like beep, beep when you're walking through. The first level is like, I don't know, say if you like speed ran it, you do it in 2 minutes, but like you're moving at such a slow pace in like these unbelievably dark, large rooms, and that little thing is beeping every once in a while, and you just do it so slowly. And I think you don't see any alien in that first level. I think they keep like it's a really good introductory level because like it's all in your head. And there's at one stage you're going through like a vent shaft, and like a gas pipe breaks and it like bursts through, and it looks a little bit like a Giger head.
Yeah.
And like I remember shooting at it the first time it popped off, which I bet a lot of people did.
That's amazing.
Yeah, my brother stopped playing Half-Life for the same reason. The head crabs freaked him out too much in the vents whenever he'd see them.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
The thing about sci-fi, I was thinking about the movie Alien recently, but it kind of applies to like sci-fi games as well, is that it gives you license to have like the environment becomes this very unpredictable sort of part of the story.
Yeah.
Not only like aesthetically, like they can stick lights anywhere and they're just like, oh, that's how a space station looks. And you're
Right.
like, oh, is this okay? I guess it's real. Whoever designed this was like a real spooky weirdo. But then like, like there's vents everywhere for like God knows what, presumably recycling oxygen. But they can just, I was thinking about how dense the environment can be with potential like vectors of being scared.
Right.
Because they could just be like, oh yeah, this whole hallway's vents. Deal with it. Like, what are you
Yeah.
going to do about it? That's how many vents we need.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's like designed to freak you out.
That's really clever. That actually came up in I watched this documentary recently, Memory: The Origins of Alien, which I think I want to say actually it might be like the first ever time that a pre-roll ad on YouTube worked for me, where it ran as a pre-roll and I actually watched it, and then I clicked the link and it brought me to their website or something, and then I saw an Amazon link and I rented it on Amazon for like whatever $3.99.
Wow.
And watched it that night, and it was really good. They had some like the intro and some they had these like filmic parts that they'd shot themselves to give it like some sort of like, I don't know, otherworldliness before it went into the interview portion of the documentary. It's mostly interviews and some B-roll of people who worked on the first on Ridley Scott's Alien. And people who, I think the people who worked to it, Giger's daughter's in it, and like all, the DOP and like the writer of it, of course, and it's really, really cool. But yeah, one of the things they talked about was lighting the scenes and how they kind of had like, you can do whatever you want, so you just make it really scary, or like infinite halls that go on forever.
Yeah.
That type of, which you mightn't have. And yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, if anyone is interested in Alien, I'd definitely check it out. That whole series is so interesting because like the second one is just a action movie, but it's like a really good action movie.
Yeah,
the Cameron one.
I almost like. I'm not a big James Cameron fan, and I saw Aliens way after I saw Alien,
right?
And I like wanted to hate it, like because
totally.
I was like, oh, like how dare you take this subtle horror property and turn it into like, now there's 1,000 of them, and it's a video game, and it's like, but it's so fun. It's such a fun movie.
Yeah,
like you can't hate it. I set out to dislike it, and I enjoyed it.
Game over, man.
Yeah.
So many great lines in it.
Rest in power.
Yeah, totally. Alien 3, I like that too. It's weird.
I haven't seen it.
It starts to turn into a kind of a turn of the millennium sci-fi thing where everything got weird there for a while, like Blade and maybe the Matrix was part of this whole thing. I guess Alien Resurrection is probably more of that. But Alien 3, I love those movies. They've got good casts and like interesting like sort of spins on it, like the whole like, who is Ripley and who's an android and all that type of thing. They're fun.
Skipped a bunch of them and then came back in.
Oh, you didn't watch the quadrilogy?
No, I missed some of the quadrilogy, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. I came back in and saw, what was I keep wanting to say Alien Isolation. What was the one where they land on the planet?
Prometheus?
No, it's the one after that. It's the one that was like a soft sequel to Prometheus.
Prometheus 2, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but they like show up and don't wear helmets on like a foreign planet. I really disliked that one, but I saw Prometheus. I hadn't seen Prometheus when I watched it, so I was like,
Alien Covenant.
That's it. So I saw Covenant and I was like, what's the Alien series up to? I'm stuck on a plane. I might as well watch this. And I think you kind of need to be like, cool, this is going to continue. I want to know more about the story. I kind of just like paratrooped into like the end of this series and was just like confused and turned off by it. But yeah. I don't know. The original Alien has like a ridiculous place in my heart.
Have you seen Prometheus?
I have, yeah. I saw it.
I like that one.
I like Prometheus too, but I saw it in the wrong order.
You like Prometheus 2?
Yes. I like Prometheus 2 as well. Yeah. Yeah,
Also-
Prometheus is good.
Yeah, I think when it came out, people weren't into it, and like it's not, there are plenty of things you can poke holes about it, the story or whatever, the screenplay or whatever. But like, I like a lot of the characters. I like the setting of it. But yeah, it's really interesting going back to like there was like all interesting conversations where in the original Alien they did not want. Is Universal, I think, did not want Giger anywhere near us. They were like, he's too
really?
weird. His sexy aliens are weird.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like, I guess if you're, sad as it is, movies are like huge monetary risks and reward margins. So
Right,
you're
yeah.
like, yeah, get this guy away with his penis monsters. Like, he's freaking out everyone.
I think it was Dan O'Bannon was the guy who wrote the screenplay. He was the guy who really like pushed for Giger to be involved. They were like old friends or something.
Cool.
It was cool.
Dan O'Bannon sounds like a creature from a Giger universe anyway.
Dan O'Bannon. He's saying he's got a more Irish name than me.
Yeah.
Dan O'Bannon.
It's a good name.
It is. My grandmother was a Bannon, so there you go.
They're related, probably.
Yeah, we better stop talking about spooky films and spooky games for the moment, because hopefully we can do a lot of it next week. Podcast on noclip.video. If that has stirred any memories for you, please let us know. We got a couple questions here from folks who send in emails or hit us out via the Discord. This first one, Heartbreak Ridge from our patron Discord asks, what are you doing for Extra Life / Game to Give? I think Game to Give is the one that Bungie does.
Oh, cool.
Have you done an Extra Life before?
I have. I did one at GameSpot for a while, and it was you were supposed to be the host.
Oh, and I just said, fuck it.
No, you had to film. You had an opportunity to film something. I want to say with Jeff Keighley, maybe it was.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe
So I wasn't there.
it was like I maybe it wasn't Jeff Keighley. It was like Adam Sessler or Jeff Keighley. It was like I remember it being a big deal. I can't,
Okay.
but you had the
Might have
opportunity to
been
do
both
something.
of them. I think I filmed something with the two of them.
Oh, cool.
Down the road
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
But you were supposed to host, and then I was sort of like this low-level video producer, and they were like, hey, Jeremy, why don't you just host? And I just drank like 100 coffees and just got like real nerdy about Super Nintendo.
Excellent.
But yeah, it's fun. I love doing Extra Life. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. The GameSpot ones were fun to do. And then we did the first one out of like my apartment in London and invited everyone over, and we just did it as a laugh and didn't think it would do well, and then it did really well. And then I felt bad that we had only done it and like basically had like we didn't invite the American team or anyone to do it. So the next year we did like everyone was involved, and they've kept it up every year since now. It's rad.
Awesome.
They're doing the same thing this year, I think. I since leaving GameSpot have done, because I didn't want to like leave GameSpot and then do one counter GameSpot or anything, so I kind of just decided not to do any. And then Giant Bomb were basically asking friends of the site to do something, so I've done one with them every year since, or like I filled in a slot. So this year we are going to do one, same kind of thing, like it'll be on the Giant Bomb website, and we'll stream it on twitch.tv/noclip. But I'm doing have you heard about what Alex Navarro has been doing for the past couple of years?
No, it might ring a bell when you explain it, though.
So Alex is a drummer in real life, and he also used to work at Harmonix. So what he has been doing for the past few years, I think he's done it 2 years in a row, is, or maybe last year was the first time he did it for 24 hours. Maybe before it was a shorter slot. But last year he played drums in Rock Band for 24 hours straight, which is absolutely insane.
That's suicidal.
It's nuts. I got like a message from my data package on my phone because I was driving to New York for something. I guess we were filming something, I forget. And I had it on on the Twitch thing while I was driving because I couldn't. It was like the last hour, and I needed to watch him finish it. And I guess I burned through all my data, but it was totally worth it. So he's a wild man. So I think the world record is like 28 hours or something. It's within grasp. So he was threatening to do it this year. I think he's either overworked or just like it's not the right year. He wants to take the year off to do it. So recently he said like, I'm not going to do that one. I'll do it next year, but he's going to join in with the Giant Bomb East people and do on their one. So I previously decided that I was going to do an endurance run in racing games of some description, and then decided I was going to do 24 hours inspired by Alex, 24 hours of simulation racing. So I'm going to drive a full season of Formula 1 in the latest Formula 1 video game, which I think is Formula 1 2019, I think is what it's called, not 2020. They don't do the silly FIFA year ahead thing. Yeah. I guess the season starts and ends in 1 year, so it makes sense for F1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna do. I think it'll end up being 50% races. I think if I do that, it'll get me to like 20 hours, and the rest will be qualifying or something.
Jesus.
But yeah, so I'm gonna do that. And I have a wheel here, and I have a pedal, and it doesn't really work because it's I stick it on like an end table so I can play it a little bit on my PC, but it doesn't really like, I couldn't do that for 24 hours. It'd be a nightmare because you're constantly like picking it up and repositioning and everything. So while we were at PAX, I got like a DM or something from the folks at Thrustmaster. I still love that company name.
Good name.
It's a fantastic name. Could be anything.
It could be anything. It's anyone's game with Thrustmaster.
They make, I guess, all manner of peripherals now. They make
still could be anything
for video games.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
They make wheels and pedals, and they make joysticks and joy. Do we call them joypads anymore? Is that what they're called? What do you call them? Controllers, I guess we just call them now.
They still bring me joy.
Joypad, yeah. Joypad. Thrustmaster joypad.
It could be anything.
So they make all that good stuff. So they have when I talked to them at PAX, they were like, "Oh, we like your F1 podcast and we like your video game stuff. Here, do you want some stuff?" So they're sending over some bits and bobs. So anything they send over, I'm going to like match as a donation to Extra Life, because I don't want to like benefit personally from all of this.
That's a cool idea, though. Then you're directly, like, their donation is directly turning into a donation.
Basically, yeah, exactly.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, so it's so they're sending over a bunch of stuff. They're sending over a wheel and pedals, and also they're sending over there's an add-on for the wheel that's just like a gear stick, like a regular one.
Nice.
They're like, I don't know, maybe if I want to play like one of those truck simulation games. So like, sure, why not? So the other thing that happened since is then they introduced me to the folks over at Next Level, who make like, I guess like the craziest, like, I guess we're calling them cockpits, but like, racing seats.
Yeah.
We had one at GameSpot. It wasn't them, but we had one at GameSpot. You hook up your seat to it, your racing wheel and stuff to it. So Next Level Racing are also sending us a cockpit, like a floor mat to go under it, and also I think a monitor stand, so like it'll stick it like in your face, like the monitor.
That's so cool.
So this whole thing is arriving. A bunch of stuff arrived at the PO box an hour ago, so it might be that. I have no idea. So all that stuff is coming, and we're gonna set the whole thing up in the Noclip studio, and then we'll go live basically once we figure out when the internet arrives. Because right now I've ordered the internet, but it might take 2 weeks to hook up. So hopefully we'll get it that week. It's kind of, I've ordered it early just to make sure. So I guess stick around we'll mention on the podcast and on the Patreon and Twitter and stuff. If you want to watch that madness, and we'll archive it somewhere as well.
I'll be the pit crew. Like, I'll just come in and like squirt water in your face and your mouth and stuff, and bring you a falafel. Well,
thankfully, much like the way like music tracks end and Alex gets a break, it's not non-stop. I was half thinking about doing like 24-hour of Le Mans or something, but like even that, you have like 3 drivers, they do them in 8-hour shifts. But thankfully, if we do this, if I do 50% races, then I'll get a break to pratter around the menus for a few minutes at least. Maybe I'll go out and get some sun at some stage.
You need sun. I'll just bring you vitamin D supplements.
Maybe you can do one of the races.
Oh god, that's gonna be sloppy.
We'll just stick you out on Monaco. Right,
it's gonna be real sloppy. It's gonna be a real bad situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do it with like no ABS or no traction control, and just like do it as simmy as possible. But we'll see, because I need to like do it for by the end, the last races of the year, like Brazil and Abu Dhabi, I'll just be like swimming all over the track. Like,
it's gonna get messy.
Yeah, real bad. So I will have links up to like where that is. I forget what my Extra Life page is. It's probably Extra Life Daniel Dwyer or something. Well, we are doing something for Extra Life, and that's it. So
wonderful.
Thank you very much for the question. Mr. Heartbreak Rage. We also got an email from Matt, which this is kind of more, I want to send this out to the developers who listen, because I know we've got a bunch of devs who listen to the podcast. Matt says, I have a 12-year-old son who's mad about video games. He's constantly playing or watching videos, thankfully not to the level where he's an uncontrollable jerk or anything. He's just super enthusiastic. Thinking about potentially more productive ways to get him connected with his favorite media. He's already into Super Mario Maker 2, which has been great to funnel his creativity, but what are the next steps if he wants to learn about game design or programming? My gut tells me those aren't the same thing, but I'm not super educated on these topics. So he's 12. Did you ever do any, like, did you ever flutter with the idea of, like, making game stuff, like mods or levels or any of that stuff?
Yeah, let's see. I got I can't remember what the name of it was, but I got a book and a piece of software way back in the day. I want to say it was like Broderbund or something like that. I'm sure someone out there will remember the actual name, but it was like something like that was the company. And Bilderberg Groups. It was like it taught you how to program in BASIC. And so it was just like a bunch of little sort of like interactive. So it had like a piece of software that you had a compiler built into it, but it had like quirky little cartoon characters and all sorts of nonsense to teach you. But I ended up learning that to the level where I made a little Link to the Past clone in BASIC. And then in high school took a bunch of C++ courses.
Really?
And then, and then I got to the level where I realized that every like graphics engine, you kind of have to like learn from the ground up. And I was like, well, I don't want to like relearn how to do this every time.
Right.
And then I sold my soul and became a filmmaker.
Wow. Yeah. Huh.
What about you?
You had a lot of. I didn't know you had all that much experience. Yeah. I did a bit. I learned like, action script was probably the first type of logic that I learned when I was like a web. I mean, I learned HTML and PHP because I was a web developer for years, but like in terms of like truly interactive, like making games, I made some Flash games and stuff. And I did Java in college, like just a little bit of object oriented programming, but like nothing in terms of game design properly except for the action script stuff. I think, I don't know, I kind of want to throw this out to any developers. If you have an idea, please let us know. A 12-year-old who's looking to sort of, I guess, like really get the rubber to hit the road on the work. Because I feel like the first thing to establish is whether or not they're interested in programming or not.
Right, yeah.
Because if you're not interested in programming, there's so many different ways to be involved in games, be it art or music or like literally everything, like social media, business. Like I'm sure it's a bit early for you to be doing that stuff with a kid, but like there's a million different ways to work within it. But if they're interested in design, like I really wish I knew what the quick outlet was, because when I was growing up, to me it was like I used Hammer, when I made some levels in Hammer for Half-Life multiplayer, or like a lot of people were making Counter-Strike maps. Some people were making mods, like simple mods for Quake or Unreal.
I wonder if anyone has created something that's like a set of like lessons for something like Unity that starts at such a low level that you could kind of like maybe
YouTube tutorials.
That's what I was going to say, but I wonder if there's something where like you could download it and it would have sort of like pieces, like pre-made things in Unity, so it would like walk you through with a tutorial and be like, see this here, and have like comments, so you could kind of like look at a completed program and then break it down that way.
I worry about a 12-year-old as well, though. I don't know what type of 12-year-old you have, but you know the way sometimes you need to pretend that it's not educational.
Yes, yeah.
Like I wonder, because like Super Mario Maker 2 is a really good way of, naturalistically teaching people about level design without making them sit down and watch a tutorial.
What about the RPG Maker series?
Yeah, was that still around? Yeah,
I feel like one of those came out in the last like 5 years or so.
Right.
I don't know how dated that is, but that's just like I guess that's kind of on par with Mario Maker.
I feel like there's at least one dev we've talked to who used RPG Maker for their first game. I remember Derek Yu of Spelunky fame started using Click and Play was the software he used to make his first games. In fact, am I crazy? He made one game. I don't know. I don't think it was a Click. What was the Jack Thompson game he made? That wasn't on Click and Play. That was on
God.
something else. I forget.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But
now.
he is super of that ilk. And I mean, Ed McMillan made Flash games. 15 of them before making Meat Boy.
Yeah.
Or I guess Gish. Sorry, was the first sort of traditional game he worked on. So yeah, there must be. I wonder what that vector is. Maybe that PS4 game Dreams.
Yeah,
the Media Molecule one.
Yeah.
That looks like it's taken the sort of Little Big Planet creator mode thing and like really ratcheted up the, into the sort of like engineering side of things.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is...
Yeah, that's really fascinating to me. Until I saw like a couple examples of what Dreams could do, like someone did the demake of the Final Fantasy VII remake battle system.
Crazy.
Like I'm really intrigued by the idea of gamifying game design, because as soon as you do that, you tighten the feedback loop where it's like all of a sudden everyone can make their dream game because they have these tools. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you Google around like software for learning game design, I'm sure someone has created something in the last few years or at least the last 5 years, because most of the things that I can think of are from when I wanted to do game design like 10 years ago.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure there's something though.
Yeah.
Dreams is probably a really good recommendation though.
That's the closest I can see from this vantage point.
Yes.
So I'm very interested to hear what the game developer vantage point is on this one as well. Yeah, please, if you're a dev and you think you have an idea for this format, please let us know. podcast@noclip.video. I think that's basically all I've got for this week.
Yeah.
Got to edit this ESRB thing now. We could film the stand-ups.
Wunderbar.
Yeah. What are you doing for the rest of your week?
Probably doing some color grading
yeah.
and hanging out. Yeah, I don't know. Soaking up the weather's real nice, and it's late October.
What's up with this? I was just thinking, what's up with this like late October sunny ass days?
I don't know, man. I might just go for a bike ride and then start building my... Oh, I just bought Final Fantasy IX, which is like one of the only Final Fantasy games I've not played. And
Which one is that?
It's the one that's like kind of... it's like cartoony isn't the right word, but... It's like, it was sort of a cartoony rebuke to Final Fantasy VIII's kind of like hyper seriousness. Yeah, I don't know. I played like 7, 8, 10, all of the games that came out are adjacent to it, but I just got it on my Switch, so I'll probably play some of that. I've played the first couple hours of it before, but I've never beat it, so that's next on my backlog. Yeah, What about yourself?
I'm going to jump into Sea of Solitude. I'm going to keep playing Hideo Kojima's latest fever dream. I'm going to... what else am I going to play? I'm thinking there's I've had this weird couple of weeks where I've been capturing a lot of like hard-hitting games for the ESRB doc, just getting like some footage of like Doom and like Mortal Kombat. So they've been fun, kind of jumping back into that and resetting up all my like old game capture equipment. I think I have a pretty good solution set up for when we get to the studio where we can just kind of plug anything in and get capture of it or stream it or do whatever. But that's pretty much it. I think I'm probably going to focus on Death Stranding for the next week. Although the Outer Worlds,
God damn it,
is out.
It's only been an hour and my brain is scrambled.
Don't introduce the word hour into this. That sounds too close to it. It'll confuse me even more.
The Outer Worlds.
It's out, I want to say, in a couple of days. Friday, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll have a go with that as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for that as well.
Apparently it's not crazy long. Apparently it's like whatever, like crazy long, 30 to 50 hours.
Yeah.
Like. So it's like for an Obsidian role-playing game or for a 2019 role-playing game. It's not Witcher. I'm going to drop 200 hours into it and almost scratch the surface. So that sounds cool to me because then, I don't know, I think a little bit on the shorter side then also means that you're kind of more... maybe likely to do a second playthrough and have fun that way. You know what I mean?
I also am very excited to try Disco Elysium.
Oh God,
looks getting super cool.
People are with those folks. I think the publisher for that reached out to us last E3 about coming over to play it, and we couldn't because of I forget exactly why. But I'm super excited for that whole team because this is a game they've been plugging away on for a long time and probably had a bit of trouble getting people to have eyes on it. And those Steam reviews, it's just killing it. I think Greg at Supergiant, Greg Kasavin, was saying that he's like really enjoying it. He's dove into it too. Go check that out. Cool.
Should be awesome, man.
Good time for games, man.
Very good time to love video games.
Yeah, totally. Thanks so much for hanging out. If you have any questions, podcast@noclip.video. If you have any insight into the video game design stuff or have any spooky games you want to tell us stories about, please send them there as well. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Love you. Bye.